Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us to today's webinar, how to prepare for reopening your food business to the public. This webinar is presented to you in collaboration with Mercer County Office of Economic Development and the Small Business Development Center at the College of New Jersey. My name is Lilian Mauro. I am the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center at the College of New Jersey, and we provide counseling, training, and technical assistance for existing businesses and startups. We are part of a network that has more than 1,000 centers nationwide, and 12 of them are located in the state of New Jersey. Each center covers a specific area. So in our case, we are located at the College of New Jersey, and we cover Mercer County with its 12 municipalities. If you are out of the Mercer County, you still can contact us and we can refer you to the closest center to you. We have a great team to serve the business communities. All the programs are presented by qualified specialists, government representatives. We have faculty, experienced business owner, and private consultant that can help you to overcome the challenges that you may experience operating your business. We provide one-to-one counseling at no cost to you. And also throughout the year, we offer no-cost and low-cost training sessions to learn more about running and growing your business. Our areas of expertise include, but it's not limited to, business plan, marketing plan. We help you also with website development, social media, procurement at the federal, county, and state level, international trade, retail, wholesale, manufacturing. We also offer QuickBooks and loan package development. We are no lenders, but we help you to connect with different lenders. And let's see. Also, all our services will not be possible without the support of the Small Business Administration, the State of New Jersey, Mercer County Office of Economic Development, the College of New Jersey, and also we do have lenders as RBAC, Regional Business Assistance Corporation, and UCEDC. With that, let me introduce you to Anthony Carabelli Jr., Director for Mercer County Office of Economic Development. Anthony.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the county executive and our partners at the SBDC, I would like to thank all of you on this who are on this call. You bring a great deal to our local economy, our regional economy here in Mercer County. I was just looking at the numbers. We have a workforce of over 200, a labor force of over 200,000 individuals, and of that, 8 to 10% is specifically the food industry. So it has a tremendous impact both locally and regionally here in Mercer County. I'd also like to thank all of you. I know you're giving up your time to be on this call today. And we're in some uncharted waters, obviously. And there's really no magic wand, but I think we have someone that who is presenting today that could assist us in navigating some of those this difficult time. Lil, you want to put? Sorry, I can't see my slide. Okay, just talking about some of the programs for Mercer businesses. I just want to mention, just to give a 30-second advertisement on our Office of Economic Development. We do business counseling through the SBDC. We have a new lending partnership with UCDC, which has been actively providing business loans, crisis loans in this pandemic. Feel free to contact our office. Under 2%, anywhere from roughly around 2% interest rates on smaller microloans of 10,000 to 15,000, upwards of 10 to 15,000. We also have under our Office of Economic Development the on-the-job training grants, which are through our Mercer County One Stop. These are grants for the first 6 months that an individual is employed at the business, actually the business would be compensated up to half of the salary of the individual during that 6-month time period. Or our FTZ grantee, which doesn't really apply to the group that I'm speaking with today. We have free site selection services if you're looking for expansion within Mercer County, and we also offer the Mercer County Trainee Certificate Program through our clerk's office. Next slide, Lou. And this just is our contact information. Feel free to reach out to the Mercer County Office of Economic Development. I know my business advocate, Darren Stewart, is also on the call today. And we just try to be a resource for you. There's opportunities regarding grants and lending loan opportunities that are on our website. So thank you all for being on the call. And now brings me pleasure to introduce someone that has more than 10 years in the hospitality industry. She has a master's degree from Cornell School of Hotel Administration. Her specific assignments that I think are most appropriate today are pre-opening, organizational structuring, menu engineering and concept development, financial management, and market positioning, just to name a few. She's going to focus in on starting with why and the 3 Ps, planning, people, and process, and also the third objective, new business, the new business model post-COVID-19. So without further ado, she's talented and has a great deal of experience. Ankasha, I want to the floor is yours, Ankasha Pathja.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Lilian, for the great introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm just going to share my screen. I hope everybody can hear me okay.
We're okay.
Okay. So as Anthony mentioned, what we're going to learn today is starting with why. So we're actually going to take a step back and think about having a strong purpose for our business before we start thinking about what we need to do and how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the 3 Ps, planning, people, and process, that actually help set up the framework for the new business operating model for hospitality and the food business in this case moving forward. So let's start with, why does your business need a purpose? Well, as per a study conducted, businesses that had a purpose had 46% greater market share gains, 86% over performers, and also grew 3 times faster than competition. A purpose helps unify teams, helps align with your teams. It helps attract talent and sustains engagement. And it's actually the second most important factor when considering a new job. It helps with decision making. It empowers your team members. It helps fuel strategic innovation, and it paves the way for increased brand relevance and distinctiveness. Everything that we need moving forward. What you see to the right here is something called a golden circle that was shared by a coach called Simon Sinek. You've probably seen a TED Talk on him as well, and it's in his book called Start With Why. And what he talks about is that most businesses know what they do, which is the products and the services that they offer. Some of them know how they do it, which is the procedures, systems, and structure. But businesses rarely know why they do what they do. And most businesses start with first thinking about their what, then moving to the how, and then thinking about the why. Versus in successful business models, it should actually be inside out, which is you need to have a strong why, a purpose, which then helps you determine what your what and your how is. And in this case, it's actually going to help us reset our what and our how. Purpose is also needed for team and consumer management. Here's why. During a pandemic or during unprecedented times, when revenue growth is challenged, there's a lack of internal alignment, there's disengaged employees, there's uninspired innovation, and we're in this constant mode of firefighting or thinking about band-aid approaches. So why do we need a purpose here? The purpose is what actually, it helps us transform the results and it leads to a greater impact by bringing the organization together, which is also what we saw in the previous slide, proven by a lot of other companies. In terms of consumer management, consider this phrase: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this is actually backed by science as well, which Simon Sinek has explained in his book, Start With Why. Some of the greatest companies, such as Apple and Amazon, start with their why, and people buy the why, not really what they do. A study conducted by Deloitte proved that as well, where people consider how you treat your employees, how you treat your community, what are you doing for the environment, and even more so in today's times. So how do you formulate your why? Well, think about, why does your company exist in the first place? Why did you get out of bed this morning? Why should anybody care about what you do? Your why statement should be simple, clear, and actionable. It should be focused on how you'll contribute to others and expressed in a language that resonates with you, your employees, and your customers. It could be as simple as make today better, or improve the quality of life, or inspire people. That's your why. That's why you get out of bed every morning. And it should be easy to understand, even by, say, a 17-year-old working for you and a 50-year-old. So a language that's simple, clear, actionable, and helps you make decisions, helps you empower your employees, and helps customers relate to you in a simple way. This is how you come up with your why. It's to, so that. So here's an example. This is from Amazon. To be Earth's most customer-centric company, so that customers can find and discover anything they might want to buy online. So it's as simple as that. Amazon has a myriad of businesses, but if you notice, the why here rarely talks about that. It's more about being customer-centric, and it's about creating that experience for their customers versus the products that they're selling. Use your why to reset your what and how. So I strongly encourage you to think about your why and then use that now to work on our plan forward. Let's get to the 3 Ps: planning, people, and process. And this is actually going to help you build a framework for your new business operating model. There isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's not a cookie-cutter approach. You need to understand what makes sense for you, your business, your employees, and your customers. So start by asking yourself these simple questions for planning. Look at your business with a fresh set of eyes. You need to be nimbler and more adaptable moving forward. See the glass as half full. You've survived this. Now it's time to revive and thrive. Talk to others. The more we think about our issues, the more upset it makes us. Talking actually helps reason out issues. Take stock of the situation. Where are you today? Where do you aim to be? What do you need to get there? And then start thinking about things step by step. You're not going to be able to eat the entire pie. We're going to start working on chunks of the pie first. Reassess every aspect of your business. So some of you probably have your business in operation right now. Think about it as, did you work on any new business ideas that work for you during the crisis? And it was almost like a eureka moment. Can these opportunities be long-term? Can you grow any segments that continue to be popular and profitable for you? These are segments that stood the test of time and might continue to stand the test of time for you. So let's work on enhancing it. Think about your people. Who do you have on your team right now? Who do you need? Do you have the right people on your team? Once you've determined your company's purpose, Think about the people on your team, and do they align with the purpose of your company? Do they believe in your purpose? Are they going to help you help your customers believe in your purpose and attract the right customers for you? Be transparent with your employees. You don't want them to fill in the gaps, especially now, and make assumptions. Give your employees a seat at the table. Involve them in idea generation. Remember, employees are brand ambassadors for you, and employees are the ones serving your guests. They might have all these ideas that you might not even have thought of. And some of the greatest ideas come by giving your employees a seat on the table. They also feel empowered in the long run. And actually, that's one of the highest motivating factors for employees that leads to better loyalty and productivity. Employees do have anxiety at this time and a lack of clarity, like a lot of us. Be clear about performance expectations moving forward. Times are tough and will continue to be tough for a bit. Let's set clear expectations from the start. Anticipate some of the challenges ahead. Start coaching your managers and your employees so business can stabilize and regain momentum. Tell them that there's going to be a need for high accountability. When we talk about accountability, let me talk about what accountability really means. A lot of us use the terms accountability and responsibility as synonymous, but they're actually not synonymous. There's a fine line. There is a difference between the two. Think about accountability as the captain of the ship or the driver of the bus. This is the person who's going to be responsible for all the wins and all the losses. So as a business owner, you're not the only one who's accountable at all times. If you empower your employees, you can help them be accountable for certain situations. So that will, in a way, help you improve your quality of life as a business owner versus always running around, especially in businesses such as the food business, where we're always running around as headless chicken at times. So let your employees take charge. Have a plan in place to deal with staffing reductions. You are going to need to have a lot of staffing reductions moving forward, but at the same time, we cannot compromise on quality. You might need to revisit your wage structure, tipping policy, sick leave policy, and health benefits. So think about how are you going to be able to do that? What kind of resources would you need to be able to do that? Take care of your employees. Loyalty and productivity are even more important moving forward. So the more productive the employees, the lesser the labor hours used in completing a task, which in a way contributes to profitability in your P&L. So think about it as a big picture approach. Training your employees helps in improving productivity. Taking care of your employees by understanding what motivates them, why do they come to work, help them understand the purpose of your business, help them feel empowered. I keep using this term all the time. Help them feel accountable. That is taking care of your employees as well, and that leads to higher loyalty. Manage your turnover. Analyze what is your turnover percentage right now. Are certain positions more vulnerable than the others? Why are people leaving your organization? Are your employees happy? How can you get them to stay with you? Educate, engage, and empower your team. Process. You are going to need to add more efficiency to your processes moving forward. Remember, simplicity wins. You have to do more with less. Create a culture of curiosity. So when you're sitting down with your employees, you can actually play this game of ask why. Why are we doing things a certain way? What if we do it differently? What if we do things in a certain way that we've never done before? And is that going to help us? Challenge your employees and you'll come up with maybe some of the best and most sustainable solutions. Tie cost discipline with growth strategy. You're going to be more disciplined, and you're going to need to be more disciplined about your costs, especially with tight and low budgets moving forward. So how are you going to try that and empower your employees to think about that, to come up with a good growth strategy? So the answer here is to not, for example, keep cutting labor. The first situation everybody thinks of is, hey, I can only have 1 or 2 people on shift right now. I need to send you back home, or cut. Sure, we're going to have low budgets, but there are ways to work efficiently and smartly. Think about, for example, who is doing what and when. Do I need to have these many people right now, and what are they doing? Try having a mix of some of your experienced staff with the newcomers. Have a mix of productivity, rotate your staff. Think about cross-training your staff, for example. So think about initiatives where you're going to tie cost discipline with your growth strategy and help you build a strong foundation moving forward. Evaluate the costs of reopening. Yes, we're all looking forward to reopen right now, but hey, opening and running a restaurant, for example, might be tougher now for some time. The reopened restaurants in China are actually still surviving on takeout and delivery. We'd have to take account of the safety guidelines and operating procedures that might continue to evolve. People are going to be reluctant to dine out for a bit, and will have less money to spend. Since 2015, people were spending more at restaurants than they were spending at grocery stores. But in a way, trends are reversing right now, which is why a lot of different food businesses have started meal kits or subscription boxes where people are preparing gourmet meals at home, or they're training them with recipe development. Maybe you need to think about more ideas like that that work for you and have it as part of your sustainable business plan moving forward. More companies might allow remote work, so travel and tourism trends might change. Take account of that. How is that going to affect your business? How would you need to use innovation to target these kind of customers moving forward? I read this very interesting article on LinkedIn where Ted Tang, who is a former president and CEO for the leading hotels of the world, was interviewed. And he spoke about turn this crisis into an opportunity. So we've probably read about this in a lot of different articles. The pandemic has actually exposed a lot of shortcomings in different businesses. So let's use this time to fix some of those shortcomings and build a stronger foundation. You're going to need to get back to basics. Ted Tang also said, people might stop doing what they're doing in the short term, but stopping what you're doing is never the long-term solution. So yes, things will change, but it'll take time to come back to that new normal, as we all say. We're going to continue to do what we do, but we're just going to change how we do it. So for example, people might not stop traveling because yes, people are curious to learn about the rest of the world, meet new people. You're probably just going to be a little more careful and selective about your travel. So likewise, people, yes, in the short term, might not dine out in restaurants or your food businesses as much right now, but it'll slowly come back to the new normal. They might be more selective. They're going to be more careful. It's going to take time to rebuild that trust. So empathize with your customers and think about how can you help rebuild that trust, rebuild that assurance, and how can you make them feel safe? Slowly coming to what's the new business model. So I would say let's focus on the business mantra, be hospitable before you sell. So what is hospitality? This difference between hospitality and service, as some of you might have heard, is hospitality is making people feel good. It's how you make people feel, versus service is fulfilling the bare minimal standard. So it's time to be hospitable first. We need to make people feel safe, as I said. We need to rebuild that trust, that assurance. And then start thinking about, okay, now how do I get back to my sales and profitability and regain my business momentum to revive and then thrive? So when you're thinking about your business elements, prioritize safety over sustainability. And it will be tough and challenging initially, but it's only going to help you build a very strong framework for your business. And if you survive this time, you're going to thrive moving forward. I always say happy employees are happy guests. You're taking care of your employees, you're automatically taking care of your guests. So nothing is more important right now than the safety of your employees and your guests. Focus on that. Make that a priority, as I said. Think about ways that you can prioritize that. Use this downtime to get back to basics and train your employees. Training your employees will help understand what are the business standards, what are some of the new standard operating procedures, how can they be productive, how can they adapt to this new normal. Create a safety playbook for your employees. So the purpose being to educate them on your new safety procedures that might continue evolving. Educating them on your policies, such as your sick leave policy, and talking to them about your safety protocol, which might include screening, how do you report, PPE, basic hygiene standards. You're going to have a lot of different checklists before people start understanding and practicing these new safety standards. Don't be afraid to be transparent about some of these safety policies and procedures in guest communication. It might actually turn out to be some of your greatest marketing tools. And you'll see that in the following slides. Use resources for standard safety guidelines that are available, such as by the World Health Organization, the CDC, FDA, and the National Restaurant Association. These are standardized, these are guidelines, and these are organizations that are experienced. So try using some of these resources that already exist. There's a link to some website links here that you will have access to when we share this presentation. But feel free to use a lot of these resources, including checklists that are available for reopening. And it might answer a lot of the questions that you might be uncertain about. This is an example of a restaurant checklist by the CDC, which is again on their website. So it talks about employee health and hygiene, the administrative procedures, and some basic cleaning and sanitizing procedures that are guidelines for you. You might have cleaning checklists already, and you can use these to evolve and enhance your cleaning checklists and just make them better. This is an example that was shared by the Darden Group on their website, and it's actually a communication that was meant for their customers, but it talks about their policies and procedures that they're following, not just for their employees, but also their brand in general, and it's available for everybody to see on their website. So how it's helpful is it's transparent. There's this element of a community, serving a community. So it's actually helping regain that trust that we were talking about and rebuilding that relationship with their customers. And that's going to go a long way. So you see there's a really nice visual where it makes you feel like you are a part of these policies as a customer, and it also shares what they're doing with their employees and why they're doing it, which relates to their purpose. This was an email that was sent by Sweetgreen that's ready to reopen their restaurants. So again, you see a nice visual of what some of the lines are going to look like, where you're going to be able to pick up your food. You can get a visual of what some of the social distancing standards are going to look like. It talks about having a dedicated concierge. You're going to order on their app, have notifications. There's going to be separate guest and courier pickup queues. So it already is slowly starting to rebuild that trust. Likewise for Marriott, this was again an email sent by Marriott to all their customers talking about the standards that they're going to be following in all their hotels. And again, reinforces that element of we're in this together. Let's talk about the service flow and the operating model and some questions that you're going to need to think about as you're thinking about reopening. How many customers can dine or be in your cafe, store, restaurant at one time? Are you going to take walk-in customers to your restaurant? Maybe not. How are consumers going to place orders? Not everybody has an app. You can't have menus maybe that are reusable because you're going to need to disinfect after every person touches it. Are you going to print menus, and are you going to discard those menus? So you have to start thinking about how are people going to place orders to feel safe, and how are you going to keep your employees safe? How many sections in your dining space will be open, or how many hotel floors, for example, will be open? You might not have as many customers dining in at one time. So do you really need to open your entire restaurant? You're also going to need to have to reconfigure the overall layout. So we have to start thinking about how are you going to maintain those minimal social distancing standards, but still maximize productivity for your employees and safety for your employees and customers. What is your waiting policy for customers going to be? Where are they going to wait? How much time are they going to wait for? How are they going to wait? How are you going to serve the food? Or are people going to pick it up from a certain section? You're probably not going to have shared food or buffets anymore. So how are you going to, if that's something you did, so how are you going to reinvent your style of service? How are customers going to pay? Again, not everybody has an application. So are customers just going to leave their card and share their information on a phone call, or are we not taking any cash moving forward? So you have to think about that, and then how does it relate to the guidelines by the CDC and your state reopening guidelines as well. Look at some of the best practices by these other brands that we just highlighted in the previous slides. Are you going to need to invest in technology, and what resources are you going to need for that? Can you afford that right now? How and how often will you disinfect? Do you have the necessary resources again? So these are questions that we need to start thinking about. And then how do you have access to these resources to give you a jump start? There are CDC recommendations, again, available on their website, and some of them being rotating staffing in schedules. Shared spaces, such as break rooms, should either be closed or their usage should be staggered. You're going to need visual guides that some of you might already have, such as tape on floors or sidewalks, and signage indicating that people should stay 6 feet apart. So here's an example of what some restaurants in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea are doing. So what you see, there's a McDonald's there, for example, and they have a thermal monitor in Hong Kong. In Shanghai, you see that the staff is in full mask and gloves, and there's a disinfecting machine there that disinfects everybody before you enter. There's a staff member to the right that's disinfecting the cutlery or the utensils in front of the guest. You have dividers. That's probably going to be the new normal as well. You have some visual guides there indicating that people need to be 6 feet apart. And of course, staff wearing masks and other protective gear. A lot of the restaurants are still surviving on curbside pickup, which is still contactless. So you see there's a KFC there that has a separate station outside for contactless pickup. There's a staff member checking a guest's temperature there. So all of these might be the new standards moving forward. When you start thinking about your product mix or your menu, or in general, the products and services that you're offering, think about that as a driver for your profitability, because that's what affects your food cost, your labor, your service design and flow, and the equipment that you're going to be using. And you're going to need to keep it simple, not just initially, but even moving forward. Simplicity is key. Focus on food cost management. There was a statistic that said that 80% of restaurants do not cost out their food menus, and 5% of the restaurants that do cost them out incorrectly. Costing your menus and your recipes actually might increase profitability by 10 to 15%. So make sure that you're documenting your recipes, revisiting your recipes maybe, and keeping some ingredients simple, revisiting portion sizes as well if you need to, if most of the portions go to waste. And make sure that you're training your employees on these recipes. So make sure that they have the essential tools and the equipment to measure the ingredients correctly and actually follow the recipes to the T. You're going to need to have stricter waste management. So make sure employees are logging down the waste of some sort, and use that to alter your order levels or your par levels, because that's money right there going down the trash. Could be money in an employee's pocket. So think about better ways for waste management. Maybe even incentivize employees if they do help in financial management, and give them a seat on the table. Revisit your menu and the overall menu engineering mix. So think about it as the classic puzzles, stars, dogs, and the plow horses. So what are some menu items that continue to be profitable and have high unit sales or high consumer demand? Those are your stars. Those are the items that will continue to probably stand the test of time for you. So can you work on growing those segments or enhancing those segments? Your dogs are the items that are least popular, barely send any consumer units, and are not at all profitable for you. They need to be eliminated from the menu. Think about your puzzles and your horses as well, and try to think about the menu as a complete menu. You need not have 20 or 30 items on the menu. Some of the best restaurants, there was a hummus place that I keep going to, has only 3 or 4 different types of hummus on their menu, but used to have a line out of the door just for those 3 or 4 types of different hummus. Because they were smart about their menu, they kept it simple, and they did it well. So think about your menu engineering mix like that. Sales and profitability. Use the principle preserve, enhance, and invent. So again, try preserving what you have, enhance what's doing well for you, and then invent if you need to. You need to continue innovating. Do more with less. And this is not an insufficiency, but it's doing things smartly, proactively, and efficiently. Sometimes doing more with less has a negative connotation for a lot of different people, but it's not. It actually helps sustain sales, reduce your costs, but do not compromise on your quality. You're going to have low budgets, but you need to think about a high impact. scope new business ideas where the need is. So innovate, look at the market, think about who is your customer, what do they want, ask your customers what they want, help develop new ideas, test these out. You've probably tested out some of these ideas already. So evaluate what is doing well for you, why is it doing well for you, and then maybe work on scaling it as well. And that's it from me.
And also, I would like to remind you that if you would like to have a one-to-one counseling session with Akansha, please feel free to contact us. Akansha is available to offer the individual counseling, and they're gonna go over your business needs and go into the challenges that you may have it right now. I don't see more questions. Anthony, you're
No, No, I don't see any more questions that came through the chat, but I just want to mention one piece that, financially folks have been impacted, businesses have been impacted, and, there's been resources at the state and federal level regarding some grant money that may be available. And one of the things I just want to highlight, we're partnering again next week with Lily and the SBDC through the EDA. They recently announced, I don't know if folks were aware of this, but they recently announced this week that $50 million of new funding and broader eligibility criteria for small businesses is going to be a small business grant program. So up to $10,000 in grants will be available, and that webinar will take place with our friends at the EDA, New Jersey Economic Development Authority, on Thursday next week. Do we say 10 o'clock, Lil?
Yes, it's 10 o'clock. I'm sharing the screen. It's going to be on June 4th, Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m. Along with a copy of this presentation, you will also receive a link to register for this event. And as Anthony mentioned, they're going to give us all the guidelines, the new guidelines to apply for the grant, and template or of the application, a sample of the application. So you will have to be prepared once the application is online and live.
Correct.
And if you don't have any more questions, I would like to thank Akansha for her time. Remember, you can also contact our center to request a one-to-one counseling. The SBDC at the College of New Jersey and Mercer County Office of Economic Development are here to assist you and concerning your business needs. Any questions, please reach out our center to 908-295-5926 or 609-789-8364. You can send us an email also, regional director at sbdcnj.com, as well as the County Office of Economic Development at 609-989-6555 or Carabelli jr at mercercounty.org. Thank you so much. And remember this, we are here for you. Please, you're entitled to use these services. There is no cost to you. Any questions, let us know. We're here to help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akansha. Thank you.